You know, in automotive mass production, it's all about throughput and productivity. And when we talk about productivity, we're talking about a low margin, high volume business that's highly complex. I'm with Mark Scherler, he's General Manager of FANUC America. Mark, we're standing in front of a display here with a very dexterous robot that's spot welding the side panel of what would be a body in white application, I guess,
exactly
for
right.
mass production. Tell me about it.
Well, this is a new robot for us. It's a 7-axis robot. It's the R1000 version of robot. And in this case, we actually allows us to move the robot closer to the body in white panel. It gives us less footprint area that we need for the robot. The 7-axis allows it to move the arm or the spot welding gun inside the window of the body in white and reach all the welds that we need on the inside. And you can see by how it moves around that the spot welding gun can reach all the different positions, and it's a very tight area. It also gives you more flexibility. The reach of the robot is being optimized on this part now, whereas if it has to sit further away to be able to reach inside, you lose a lot of that reach.
Now, electrical resistance welding, of course, that's always a big end effector. That's quite a mass
right
at the end of the robot waving around. And it's moving quite fast. Is this sort of speed we're looking at here, is that typical production speed in a real application?
Well, in terms of the robot motion, it is very typical. We're not actually spot welding here,
yes.
But we did put a delay in that tries to simulate what an actual production spot weld would be.
Now, it's in this case, we're looking at an example. This is a small to mid-size sedan side panel in this case. The tendency now, of course, is SUVs, light trucks, etc. But we're also looking at lightweighting materials, aluminum in particular. Ford F-150 is the case in point. That lightweighting, the steel industry, of course, are fighting back with new grades of HSLA, and they're down gauging the metal. A little harder to weld in some cases, different alloys spot welded to each other. Is that a factor in the robotic side? Is it the motion always the same?
Well, it does become a factor. We have to be able to adjust to use the different process types that are being used on the different material. With the high strength steel, it's still generally done with spot welding, but there are other processes. And with the other material, like the F-150 as your example, where they're using aluminum, they're using different processes that's not spot welding. And we've worked with the different application companies that make the flow drill screwing or the riveting or any of the other type of process, so that we have control of that through the robot controller and makes it more easy to use process, just like the spot welding process is now.
What's interesting is the mechanical fastening people almost have, it's like the war, they're fighting back against the lowest cost process, which is welding.
Right.
So flow drive screws have suddenly popped back up, and no one's been driving self-tapping screws for years, and now it's a hot process. So from an automation, robotic standpoint, you're agnostic about the end effector. It doesn't matter how I attach those panels?
Yeah, we understand that the automotive companies will need to be able to choose the correct process for their material that they're making. We have no influence on that. So as long as they understand what the different process is, we want to work with those companies and make sure that the robot will be optimized for it.
In this unit, we're looking at automotive application. Are there other applications that this could be used potentially? Whiteware, appliances, aerospace?
Yeah, certainly anything. In terms of the 7-axis robot, anything where you need large reach and more flexibility than what you currently have now. Sometimes you'll see a robot that gets put on a rail, and that rail gives you the extra flexibility. This might be able to replace the rail and not require the rail for your flexibility you need to get around the part.
If you've got to reach deep inside a body in white for spot welding application, Mark Scherler at FANUC has your 7-axis robot.